Thank all of you for being with us on tonight. We were anticipating that it would not snow tonight so that we could get a good crowd for you to come out to learn more about what we are doing in this community with Giant Eagle and some of the other partners. So we are really excited to have each and every one of you who are watching us by the World Wide Web. We are video this onto our website, onto YouTube, Facebook. So everything that Giant Eagle says tonight, we're going to be able to hold them accountable. Somebody holler back at me now. But nevertheless, they're not going to say anything that's not going to be true tonight. So we are really glad to have them with us on tonight. And we're glad to have each and every one of you with us tonight. And all of you are watching us around the world, because anybody who's on my link, they would get a notification that we're doing something here. So I am Dr. Daryl Trevino Kennedy. I am the senior pastor of the Rodman Street Church, where you are part of now. And I've been here for about 12 years. I moved here from North Carolina. I went to a little school in Atlanta called Morehouse College, where our most famous graduate is Dr. King. And then I went to Emory University. Then I went on to Virginia Union University to get my doctorate. And about 12 years ago, God called me to this city, called me to this particular community, and to the city of Champion. So we are really excited. Our vision here is called the Community of Hope. So to have a community meeting is right in line with everything that we do. We don't want to just be at the table. We don't want to just be, on the menu, but we want to be at the table. I tell my congregation all the time, either you're at the table or you're on the menu being cut up. Somebody go on and shout amen. Amen. So we are really glad and excited to have each and every one of you with us on tonight. I want to do a little bit of groundwork. First of all, Giant Eagle is not going to be able to answer every question about everything that's going on in East Liberty and Laramie. So they're not going to talk about the construction. They're going to specifically talk about Giant Eagle, specifically about the location that closed, specifically about the plans that they have with rebuilding the location, specifically to talk about what they're going to do in the interim with that. So they're not going to be able to answer questions about how many apartments are going to be over there, what other businesses are going to be over there. So we're going to really tonight specifically talk about Giant Eagle and what their plans are, and to listen to you and what your concerns are for Giant Eagle. So I want to make sure that we stay in line with that. Also, we're going to have multiple meetings. So tonight is going to be a good start. Now, they have been meeting with various community groups for the last 3 years, talking about the plans. But we're going to have this meeting tonight. Then we're going to have some follow-up meetings, because some of the questions and concerns that you may have tonight will lead to other things. So we want to let you know this is not a one-off. Rodman Street Church is going to be a host for several meetings. So I want you to tell others about that, because we believe that they want to hear your voice, and we want to hear their voice, and we want to be able to bring those voices together. I'm also a part of the East Liberty Village Collaborative. I am the chairperson of that. That means that we are the RCO. We are the community agency that serves as a link between the community and the corporate Pittsburgh. So I am the chairperson, but we have some other leaders here. So I'm going to ask that all the board members of the East Liberty Village Collaborative, if you would just stand at this time. We have Pastor Keith Moncrief from Baptist Temple, not Baptist Temple, from Kingdom Light down the street here. We also have Valerie Parham, who is our vice chair here, and we probably have some others who are looking at us and some others who are en route. So we are glad to have each of you here. We started that about 4 years ago, and it started with a lot of churches in this community, because we are the foundational community organizations, and we have some others who have joined us. So we want to help you to navigate being a liaison between the corporate Pittsburgh and the things that we're doing in our community, because again, we want to be at the table. But we also have some of our politicians here, some of our elected officials here. Let's say that, elected officials. I want all of our elected officials to stand so that we can recognize you on tonight. Whit Walton is here, and we have some others. One of our county commissioners, or you all don't call it county council here. Where I came from as county commissioner, he's one of my fraternity brothers, so he's always welcome to come to our church and to our community and others. And I think we have some people from the media. But again, we want to thank all of you for coming to join us on tonight. I'm going to begin with a word of prayer. God, we just thank you for this time that you've allowed us to gather. Thank you for Giant Eagle coming to talk with us. And we pray, God, that you would bless the meeting tonight, that it'll be very informational and help us to be able to do better things for our entire community. We want, God, even the least of these to feel like that they are valuable and appreciated. God, we love you and we trust you. Amen. Amen. Now we're going to turn it over now. We have a special guest from Just Harvest, Ken. I'm going to turn it over to Ken now.
Thanks very much, Reverend, and good evening, friends and neighbors. I'm Ken Riegel. I'm the Executive Director of the Food Justice Organization, Just Harvest. We're very grateful tonight to our hosts from Rodman Street Baptist Church, to our co-sponsors at Village Collaborative, to our guests from Giant Eagle tonight, and to each and every one of you for coming out tonight to participate in a community conversation about being able to shop for healthy food here in our community. Just Harvest has been working since the mid-1980s to fight hunger and to lower the barriers that people face in keeping food on the table for themselves and their families. Over the years, that has meant many different things. It has meant winning the fight back in the 1980s that got school breakfast into our public school system. It meant pressuring the state government for better customer service in the food stamp program, including stopping them from closing the East Liberty Welfare Office several years back. It's meant making it possible for SNAP users to use their benefits at local farmers markets. Just Harvest is not a food pantry or soup kitchen. Our mission is to promote justice in food access so that everyone can get the food that they need with dignity and equity rather than having to rely on the kindness of others. So we're asking you tonight to think about commerce, not charity, about being able to shop for and buy the foods that you want for your family without judgment or stigma from others. I'll mention just briefly that this approach is why Just Harvest helps people apply for SNAP benefits and helps them navigate through what can be a very complicated system. It's why we provide free tax return preparation services so that people can get the tax credits that they're entitled to without paying exorbitant fees. And it's why we help local mom and pop grocery stores like LA Grocery on Larimer Avenue and Farm Fresh Halal Market on Negley Avenue to be able to carry fresh produce for sale at their stores. We'll have information downstairs during the social time about all that and other of our programs to share excuse me, later on. I also want to thank my colleagues, Dana Dolney and Angela Zhang, for helping out in the back and downstairs later on. Just Harvest works for solutions to improve access to healthy food choices for people with very tight budgets, for people who are at the mercy of bus schedules to get to the grocery store or jitneys to get the groceries home, for people who struggle to shop for healthy food when, frankly, crappy food is cheap and good food is expensive, and also for just about anyone if you live in a neighborhood that has been abandoned by the supermarket industry. East Liberty and surrounding neighborhoods suffered a blow when the Shakespeare Street store closed this past summer. It is temporary, but it's a blow nonetheless. So we've been working with neighborhood residents, with community-based organizations, Village Collaborative among them, and with Giant Eagle directly to find solutions and to make those solutions as responsible to your needs as we possibly can. We've been able to make progress, as you'll hear tonight, on temporary fixes while the Shakespeare Street store is being rebuilt, and on making sure that the voices of the community are heard as the new store is planned. Through surveys and in-depth interviews and focus group meetings and chats on street corners, We've learned about the help that many seniors and others need with physical access to getting their groceries, as well as guidance in how to use the new ways of doing your food shopping online. We've heard that parents of young children need places that they can use their WIC benefits. And we've heard that people without bank accounts or credit cards need solutions that are going to work for them. We've learned that one size doesn't fit all. And we're still learning. So tonight, we look forward to a real conversation, listening and caring and finding wisdom from one another. We're glad to have leaders from Giant Eagle with us tonight to share information and to listen. We're glad to have you here to share your experiences and insights. The better we can all understand each of the barriers that struggling people face, the better our collective solutions will be. It's an honor for Just Harvest to be part of this community and part of all communities where people struggle to keep food on the table. So thank you tonight for being part of that conversation. And now I'm pleased to turn the mic over to Dan Donovan, Senior Director of Corporate Communications for Giant Eagle. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. I think my new friend is Kim to bring up the slides. That's okay. Don't even worry about it. Because this is not, what we hope this is not, is Giant Eagle representatives standing up and presenting to a group of folks who live in this community. We hope this is Giant Eagle representatives talking to and learning from the folks in this community. To that end, to make it feel more like a discussion, I'm inclined to sit, but I don't need to be disrespectful if I block anybody in the back or I seem that way. So is it okay if I sit, or should I still be standing? Standing. Thank you. So my name is Dan Donovan. I am very thankful, first and foremost, to be here. Very thankful that you showed up. And I'm very thankful that my friends Melinda Gauss, Paul Abbott, Graham Watkins, and of course Ken Riegel are here with us. The slides I would show would have our official titles. We want to make sure that you know who at Giant Eagle you are speaking with. What I hope is as important is you know why it is the four of us standing up here. So myself, been with Giant Eagle for 17 years. I am the Senior Director of Corporate Communications. I think maybe relevant to this conversation, I stopped short of saying every, but if not every, darn near every conversation related to the Shakespeare Street Giant Eagle for the past 3 years, I've been a part of. So this is something that Ken mentions working with Giant Eagle. I am very fortunate that I get to be one of those folks that to get to learn and to try to problem solve. So that is why you see me here. My friend Melinda Gauss, been with Giant Eagle a number of years. She leads a lot of the companies, dare I say, all of the companies work in what we call food insecurity. So when we talk about who is the person in the community at the mobile market stops, working with community partners to figure out challenges, that is Melinda. Our friend Paul, he leads our market district stores. So while we aren't here today able to answer every question about the store that will be built in this community, we wanted to make sure Paul was here just to speak to how he thinks about market district and how he wants to make sure that is a store for the community. Graham Watkins is an executive at Giant Eagle, and he is, in addition to his day job, he is our executive sponsor for all things food insecurity. So Melinda and I will go to Graham, certainly for ideas and suggestions, oftentimes to help us problem solve and break down barriers. So we thought it was really important that he be here as well. I want to give them the time to talk. I am hopefully here just to help guide the conversation. First and foremost, what we hope everyone understands is we know that we don't know. We are not here to pretend that we know how to walk in anyone's shoes. We're not here to pretend that we know every inch of this community, but we are here to listen and learn. To that end, we want your questions and comments. We may not have a specific answer for every question and comment. I think the fact that this is being recorded is extremely helpful for us. So if we don't capture the note in real time, we can go back. And to Pastor's note, we have talked a lot in recent days about actionable items. So if we talk about mobile market and there's commentary about potential locations for mobile market, that's an action item. Let's have that conversation, that meeting. Same thing for other pieces. So we know that we don't know, and we're really excited to learn. The last thing I'll say is, one thing we do know. We know that a mobile market, a free delivery program, things like that, services like that, none of these things are a store with 4 walls and tens of thousands of items that existed where a store once existed and will again exist. So as we talk about these things, we know that they are imperfect solutions, and not one thing is going to solve for all ills. We're going to be candid about that. Melinda's going to talk too about the opportunities and the impact we think we've had with some of these things, and then we're going to be honest about the challenges that they bring as well. We want to hear how that impacts you. We want to take that feedback and learn from it, and we appreciate your guys' understanding and your listening, and most importantly, your thoughts. The last thing we want to do, because we want to foster a conversation, and that feels really hard when I'm standing here with a mic and you guys don't have mics, is we're going to kind of pause throughout. So I think we have a few folks, I think Val's one of them, who's going to help us make sure we get feedback from the group. I don't think we have a formal raise your hand kind of technique we're going to use here, but what we'll make sure we do is we're going to pause throughout our comments. We're going to ask if there's comments or questions so that if you don't feel you had a chance to comment till that point, you have that chance, and we don't feel like at 7:30 you have to remember the question that you may have thought of an hour ago. Is that fair? Okay. So with that, what I want to do next is ask my friend Graham to talk about food insecurity at Giant Eagle at a high level. He'll touch on things that are relevant here. I think what we're hoping is that we can also educate on some things we're doing in general. I'll ask him to do that, but before I ask him to do that, any questions or comments for what I just shared? Great, and thank you. Graham, please.
Good evening. Good evening, and thank you for having us. As Dan said, I'm Graham Watkins, and officially I work on the supply chain and e-commerce at Giant Eagle, but I get the pleasure of working on food insecurity as what you might describe as an extra project that I get to spend a lot of time with people like Dan and Melinda and others on. So as a really quick background, Giant Eagle has been doing work in food insecurity for a very long time. A lot of that is dealt with food banks, and we continue to work with the food banks in every place where we operate. So in Pittsburgh, in Westmoreland County, in Columbus, in Cleveland, et cetera. Everywhere that we're operating, we're working with the food bank. But summer of 2020, we made commitments to think about what we could be doing that I would describe as more direct action. So while I very much appreciate what the food bank does, and I'm on the board of a local food bank, so I really appreciate it, but I do believe that there are direct actions that we can take. And so we spent a lot of the fall of 2020 and winter of 21 trying to understand what communities that have food insecurity were facing. And we heard a lot about access, the challenge of getting to the store. We heard a lot about prices and how those things can impact us and what we could do on those things. And so we looked at that. We looked at national programs that other retailers had rolled out, and we came up with, frankly, 2 different ideas at the time, which we've rolled out, both of which were in this community. I'll talk about another one we've added along the way. So the first is the mobile market. I don't know if you guys have seen the mobile market or not. We are now stopping in 9 communities in and around Pittsburgh and Allegheny County. There might be a picture that comes up at some point, but the key is it now carries about 600 unique everyday grocery items. It features half-price produce. We stop at the Kingsley Center here, at the Bethany Center. Dan, where am I? What's the other one I'm not thinking of? Oh, sorry, in the YWCA on Monday mornings. So we think those stops have been great, but we're continuing to learn a lot about the mobile market. We've taken a ton of community feedback on it already. We started with 300 items. Team figured out how to get 600 items on there because people wanted more variety. We heard about the items we weren't carrying that people wanted, so we put them on. Miss Donna started this, and a woman named Miss Crystal runs it now. And every week they're interacting with people in the community, making adjustments and changes, as we go along. We like that program, but frankly, we'd like it to be more successful than it has been. So I frankly have spent most of this past year thinking about what the mobile market is doing, who it's serving, where we're doing a good job, and frankly, asking what we can do better, right? One of the things we introduced this fall was half-price produce on the truck. We felt like Ken talked about access to healthy foods, and we were not selling as much produce as we wanted to. We realized if we made it half price, that would help, and it did. A lot more people started using the truck, and we're selling a lot more produce. I'm open to ideas, and I hope as we have some dialogue tonight, people will have ideas on whether it be things we can carry, places we could stop, when we could stop. Happy to hear that. The second thing we worked on was what we called community pickup points. So we thought if we could make groceries available where you could order online, pick up in the community, that would be a benefit. It seemed like a good idea, and we talked to a lot of people about it, and there was a lot of interest. We struggled, though, to see that program really come to life for us. So as much as we liked the idea of it, the reality is it didn't appear to be working. And I say that because not very many people were ordering. So we've actually replaced that now in a number of communities. We're live here in the Hill District, in Cleveland, Youngstown, with a free delivery program. So we're going right to people's doors. It's available many more hours per week than a pickup point was. And frankly, it's been adopted much more quickly. So with almost no advertising behind it, we're seeing 40 and 50 orders in the very first weeks that we'd opened that. And that's been pretty consistent. I'd love to see that grow more. I think there's a lot of opportunity for that to continue to grow. It's a place where we have capacity and infrastructure, and we know that program can work. I bring it up because one of the things we talk about a lot is the program working? Does it make sense for us to operate it, and does it make sense for the community we serve? And with the mobile market, while it's not perfect, we think we're making strides. We think we have more to learn, and we want to do that. Pickup points, we got a lot of feedback that they weren't working for people. So we stopped that one. But we don't want to take things away. We wanted to replace it, and so we added the free delivery because the feedback was, that works a lot better. So really hope we can hear more about other ideas that the community might have in doing projects like this. Where should we be going? How should we be better serving people? Like I said, it's the thing I get to work on in my spare time, but I get to make a lot of time for it because I really want to. So I hope to hear from you guys what you know about what we're doing, what you think about it, and what we could do better. So I think I'll stop there for the moment and ask if you guys have questions, comments, feedback. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Gabrielle Walker. I was the campaign organizer for Latasha D. Mays, our new state rep in this district, and I'm currently the director of community outreach for Matt Dugan, who is running to be our next DA. And I just said that just to say not only do I work in the community, but I live here. And I hear a lot of the concerns of the citizens in the community. And I particularly thinking about one in East Hills that I often take to the store, a committee woman, because there's not transportation in their community, and the local Giant Eagle is a little difficult for someone to get to if they're handicapped. And so I was wondering, will the mobile bus be going to East Hills, because that's still technically in the city?
When you say going to East Hills, mobile market, free delivery, either, both?
All the above.
Okay, fair point. I know Dan said this earlier, but I'm just going to say, when you said that, you reminded me that we don't think it's not one size fits all, right? So we think free delivery makes sense sometimes. We think the mobile market makes sense sometimes. So I'll say free delivery, I think we can look at that right away. It's relatively easier to do, and that I appreciate pointing out where we have gaps, right? That's a good option. Mobile market, we'll look at that. It gets a little trickier only because it's a big vehicle and we have to find the right parking and permitting to be able to do it. But I'm sure we can look to find options. I just know we've been said, can you go here? Sometimes it's not exactly there. We have to go over here. But
I know you all could be very, very helpful in the East Hills public housing apartments. There are a lot of senior citizens up there, and there are a lot of families who are often forgotten about. And so I think having a bus up there would definitely, I know for a fact, because I just went to a committee woman's house today, and she said that she wouldn't be able to go to the store till Friday to get some water. And so I know it would make a major difference to have the mobile bus in the community. So thank you.
thank you. Who else?
Hi. My name is Pam Cook. I'm a member of this church, and I've been to the mobile truck at the Y in Homewood by Silver Lake Commons, and my mother used to live at Silver Lake Commons, and the mobile truck is awesome. I mean, I've done the half-off produce, and my question is, like, the one in Homewood is right next to Silver Lake where my mom used to live, and there's elderly people in there, and I've seen like some of them like kind of almost fall getting on and off of the truck. Is there going to be some type of system where, like, for instance, I'm retired. Like, is there going to be some type of system where you can have somebody like get people's orders and we get their food as opposed to them struggling with their cane or their walker trying to shop? Is there going to be some type of system?
I appreciate the question. I'm glad you liked the mobile market when you were on it. I think that's what we think the free delivery is intended to try to get to, is the ability to put it right on somebody's doorstep, because it minimizes the need to do that. I recognize when I say that, free delivery starts with an online order, and online ordering means computer access or mobile phone access, and that's not always easy. And so I think we recognize it's an imperfect answer there. I know in the case of that mobile market stop that we've been asked on many occasions, can you carry this up to the apartment for me, et cetera. And of course, we're going to do that, whenever we can. But I think for bigger orders, for things where people would want more variety and things, the free delivery is probably the better option and available more days a week than the mobile market is at that location. So whether now or afterwards, it might be worth having discussion about how we could help that community be able to order that way, if we think that would help. And if not, then we can look at other options. Well, thank you. We appreciate it.
Go ahead. Okay. I have two questions, and I don't know who to direct this at. Is there a difference between Giant Eagles and Market District?
The answer is there is some difference. I think Paul's probably the guy to answer that one.
I'll be actually speaking to that at great length once this section of the questions are done. So I'm not going to try to avoid the question, but I'll just ask if we can defer it till I actually kind of go through my my speaking points and then see if that prompts further questions that maybe I didn't answer.
Okay.
That's
And
okay.
The second question is this store going to be corporate owned or privately owned?
This will be a corporately owned and operated store.
My name is Sonia Jeffrey. I live in this area right here in East Liberty, over here at Fairfield Apartments. There's a lot of people that don't have computers or anything like that. Is there a place where they can find out or someone can order, or is there a place they can order around here?
I think I didn't hear all that. I want to just be sure I got it right. But the question, I think, is for those who don't have computers or the ability to put in order, is there a way to do that? At the moment, I don't have a perfect answer for that, but we've talked in the past about different options, finding places in the community where we could create things like that. And I'd be happy to talk with people about how we might do that in a way that would work better for people. We recognize that computer access is a barrier.
just wanted to add something just very quickly. My name is Melinda. Sorry. Dan told me to stand up. I'm all really bad at that. Sorry. So my name is Melinda. I lead community relations for Giant Eagle. I just wanted to address that point specifically. Dana was very kind to host a focus group last week that I was able to attend. And one of the things that really came out of that was the ability to use the interface, get online, have access. So while I will defer a bit to Graham's answer if there is not a perfect answer to that right yet, we are literally in those conversations. So Dana and I have been talking about train the trainers, how do we get involved with libraries. Please come see me after the informal portion. I would love all of those names of places to get connected and to start to do some of that work. That's absolutely next.
Hi, my name is Janet Miles, and this may be a little bit premature, but they're in the process of cutting the food stamps. And I know you have the mobile markets, but what's going to happen starting in March? Because there used to be one payment, then they went to two payments, now they're going back to one payment. So do we have to be concerned about them pulling the mobile markets back, or is there a plan in motion?
We will not be pulling the mobile market back. I'm sure of that. So the mobile market has missed some stops recently because it required some maintenance. So I don't want to pretend that hasn't happened, but the mobile market will be on the road regardless of what's happening with various programs. So.
Good evening. My name is Donna Jackson. I'm the Executive Director of the Alarmer Consensus Group. I like to say that it's great. I've been working with Melinda with the last couple of years that we had the opportunity to be one of those places to be able to get your groceries delivered. And some of the conversations that we were receiving was people didn't want people picking their vegetables, picking their meat, and things like that. So I've been in Giant Eagles and I've seen the shoppers and how they do it. How do you assure seniors, somebody that's used to doing this for themselves, that change is not good for them, that they will feel confident to do that? And my last thing is that if anybody needs to get online for the Giant Eagle, you can come to the Alarmer Consensus Group. We're at 200 Alarmer Avenue. We have access to laptops that you can get online with.
I appreciate that question very much because there's lots of people who say that they're very nervous about someone picking my meat, picking my vegetables, et cetera, right? So I'm going to take 2 minutes and do the background of curbside and how it works. I do know a lot about that. I get my order that way almost every week. So I'll say I have a lot of faith in it, but I recognize that doesn't work for those who don't yet know that it works. So we train every shopper to check dates in dairy, as in a good example, right? Because when you get eggs or milk, you don't want to see that it's going to expire. That's what you do if you were in the store. We train every shopper to do those same things. When it comes to produce, we're asking them to check exactly the same way that you would check for quality, right? We put notes in, or the ability to put notes right next to items. I do it every week. If I'm getting an avocado and I know I'm going to eat it tonight, I put a note in there that I want it extra ripe. If I know we're not going to eat that to the end of the week, I make a note in there about that. If we're out of something, which happens in all grocery stores, our shopper will text the guest and ask them if the substitution they want to make is acceptable. If the person doesn't text, can't text, etc., doesn't want to text, we will call them when we're done shopping the order, and we will tell them what was in the, what we weren't able to get, what we'd like to recommend as a substitution, and it's always up to the customer whether or not they want to accept that. I think we take a lot of pride in doing a good job in picking groceries like we pick for ourselves, right? We want our guests to get what our families would eat, what we would take home for ourselves. But most importantly, if we have to change something, we're going to reach out to you to be sure you're okay with the change we had to make. And if you aren't, then we won't make that change or that substitute. I think as people use the service over time, they get pretty comfortable that they are getting really good quality groceries. And I would say I think that's true because we see really good comments in guest feedback week after week about the way shoppers got the right item for a guest. But also we see people come back week after week. If we weren't doing a good job at that, people wouldn't come back week after week. And so I'm pretty confident for that reason that we are doing a pretty good job at this. But I will say it does take doing it once probably to really feel that. But I will tell you that I'm very confident we do a good job in picking the items that you would expect. Sizes, weights, make a note, we'll adjust accordingly.
Did you say what the return policy?
I did not say what the return policy was. It depends on the item whether or not we can take a return, depending on what it is, but that's not the point. The point is if you have a problem, you call the store and we will figure out how to make it right. So in the long run, we'll solve the problem that way.
My name is Christiana Patton. I'm from Harriet Tubman, and I think these mobile markets are good. Senior citizens have a very difficult time moving around. And, for it to be here, it would be very helpful and very appreciated.
Well, thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments or thoughts?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kahari Mosley. I'm the director of One Hood Power. I'm also a candidate for City Council in District 9. My question was about, the long-term viability of some of these programs, even after the store reopens. What other, programs or other initiatives that may happen as far as addressing food insecurity?
I think sustainability is a great question. Sorry, I could have done that before, I suppose. Didn't occur to me, sorry. One of the key things for us is understanding that the ideas we're putting forward are sustainable because we want these to work for the community and work for us because we want them to be sustainable. We landed on the idea of the mobile market and on the idea of free delivery because we believe they are sustainable and not just in a case where the store was closed. We're running them in other places, in other communities, and we'll continue to do that. We're open to new ideas and new programs, and we're looking at them all the time. We've partnered with Children's Hospital on a program we call Bento, which is another story perhaps that we could share later, but it helps people with access to groceries. If they get to their doctor's office, the doctor identifies that they may be in a food insecure household. We've created ways for them to be able to text us that they need groceries, be able to get those groceries to those people delivered or picked up at store. So we're trying new programs all the time to see if they'll work, to see if they'll be sustained, and if there's, frankly, consumer demand and consumer interest in them. And when we see that there is, then we're going to continue to invest in those kind of programs. And to some degree, like the pickup points, if we see that what we're trying to do isn't working, right, then we're going to look to the next best option and say, well, how could we serve that need differently? Because what we were trying there wasn't working as well as we would have liked it to. So, but again, I would welcome feedback on what else we can do and should do.
I'm a member of Rodman Street. Garfield's not anywhere in your plans. It's not on the map. There's a senior building up complex, whole complex, and the truck would certainly fit up there on the main avenue. Are there any talks about Garfield?
I think Melinda actually has a list of places that are under consideration, so.
Come see me after. I'm going to have a list that this is the stuff that will be incredibly helpful for me. So I'm going to start jotting down some notes we talked about coming here. Ms. Donna is one of the things that I emailed you about just before the meeting today to talk to you about some of the locations. So that would be very, very helpful.
I have another question in regards to the one that's in Homewood. Do you guys like notify like the churches in Homewood, like Baptist Temple, et cetera, whereas they can like put it in their bulletin every Sunday so that the people will know about the mobile?
I think the recommendation is, are we working with different community organizations, local churches, et cetera, to get the word out about either the mobile market or free delivery? I'll say we continue to evaluate the best way to get the word out. So if people have suggestions, I think we'd be entirely open to doing those things.
What we do have and what we are working on are different marketing kits. So different flyers, different ads that we can put in bulletins, social media content. What we really need the help with is who to reach out to and how to get that information to folks. But absolutely, if there's a list that we can get started, that would be great. Right now we use the mobile market partners, the free delivery partners, the pickup points, Miss Donna. But as we continue to grow that list, that would be incredibly helpful.
I just wanted to know, are you going to have a catering service in that store? Catering service. Because, you know, when we have events, and we go all the way down on Center Avenue, or I got to go all the way on Waterworks. It would be nice to be able to go right here in East Liberty to order food.
Is the question, will the new store have catering in it?
The store itself is still under development, but catering has been a core component of Market District since we've had the banner all along. So the ability to actually solve for that need state around parties, events, gatherings, meetings, et cetera, is very much on our mind around how we can fulfill that need as we do across the banner.
My name is Catherine Bailey, and I'm a Rodmanite. I would like to know if the senior centers, the directors of the senior centers, are they aware of this program?
Yeah, the mobile market and the free delivery? Yes. I will say Melinda works with lots of different groups within the city, and again, I'll say any group that someone has a recommendation, a location, a high rise, a place that you feel would benefit, we'll be open to have the discussion about that place.
I'm going to interrupt just for one moment, too. I work at Just Harvest. My name's Dana. I'm going to be downstairs at the end of this for the social time where we're having some sandwiches and eating. Anyone that is associated with an organization of any sort, please come and see me directly. Give me your contact for the organization, and you have my word that I will reach back out to you after this and keep you in the loop. And we can also have further conversations if you have ideas on who we should be reaching out to. I would love to take the lead on that as well. Okay? So afterwards, we will be downstairs to collect any of this information that you want to share with us.
Hi, my name is Monique Olivis. I'm a resident ambassador with the Loma Consensus Group. My question is, how do people know if they fit into the location for the free delivery?
That is an excellent question, and I've gotten it several times, unfortunately. But so the short answer is, if you are on the gianteagle.com website and you put in your address, it will immediately recommend the free delivery. There's a storefront called that will say free delivery that will be obvious that you would select if it's available to you. We've actually been talking and gotten a lot of feedback from the community that we need to do a better job of making it more obvious if you would be included in that area or not. So the simple answer is use the website or any of the mobile apps. You put in your address for delivery. It'll automatically show you that store, and you'd be able to select it if it's available. But that said, well, we're going to do a better job of getting materials out to make it obvious so you don't have to take that step.
The map.
So I will add the map is there. And there's also some information in the packets that were handed out on the map as well. You should have a map.
It's on the back of the free delivery page. It should be in the first part of the packet with the agenda. And on the back of the free delivery page is the map. And you can look on that map and see if your address is in the green. And if it is not, and you know of a low-income building or a senior building that is not included on that, again, please come and talk to me afterwards and let me know your concerns, and I will note that as well.
And at this point, if there's no further questions.
Well, just real quick, Val, because I think you said something to me the other day that was very interesting, and I'm going to paraphrase. But you said, I like to go door to door. And while I can't, well, what we recognize with something like the free delivery program where there are defined zones and defined houses that we've done our best to try to figure out where we could best meet a need. I took that comment to heart. It kind of ties into conversations Ken and I have had. So we're very much in discussions and trying to figure out how to make the folks who can take advantage of this aware of that. So I just wanted to say that's something that stuck with me, Val, and certainly something that's top of mind for us.
What about the folks who don't have this available to them in their community? Do they have to feel like they can't come and go to the mobile unit? Are they also welcome? I mean, just suppose they live in Friendship or Avalon. I'm just giving a good example. I mean, is there a point where they're going to be questioned? Or
So if you're, and I don't want to speak for everyone, but if we're talking about the mobile market,
right.
I think some of this comes to
I'm not talking about the delivery. I'm talking about the actual shopping.
the mobile market
Right.
truck.
Right.
Yeah. So the easiest answer is based on where the mobile market goes today. If you happen to be in that community that day and that hour and you want to shop in the mobile market, you are implored to please come and use it. You know, one of the things we talk about is we say, is it successful? And we have to remind, success is determined by use. Use determines impact. If we bring the mobile market, and this would not be the case here, but I'm hypothetical, that would never happen. If we brought the mobile market to the parking lot here in the church and nobody came and visited, and we actually created awareness and still nobody visited, we didn't have an impact. So that's something we talk about a lot. The other reality, and this is, I just want to be very transparent. Today, we have a truck, and we have, I think, 4 team members, maybe 2 team members and a driver, a couple of drivers. So unfortunately, today, we are limited by the small team we have and the one truck. We would love, speaking for Graham, and I shouldn't be, we would love to have 8 trucks and 100 folks in the mobile markets for the trucks. And maybe someday we will grow in some fashion to a second, or more team members where the truck could be operational more hours. So I want to answer your question. Yes, if you see the mobile market, if you know where it is, please come and visit and utilize it. But we are also very mindful of where to take it next, where it could have the biggest impact.
At this time, let's move forward because we still have a second part of our presentation. Thank you.
If I could paraphrase.
Yeah, I was asking about the availability of these programs to people using WIC benefits and people who are unbanked, who have no credit card or debit card with which to place orders, even if they're using food stamps for most of their purchase for those items that aren't food stamp eligible.
Sure. So,
or at the marble market.
Sure. So we're able to take SNAP benefits, whether through any of the e-commerce, free delivery, curbside pickup, in mobile market. We're able to take SNAP benefits in all of those places. We actually did quite a bit of work to ensure that in the online space. WIC is challenging in both places right now. There is no ability to do online WIC for any e-commerce orders. There are actually some pilot government programs that we've actually asked to be part of because we would like to be able to test these ideas and be able to help bring them to market. So we're hopeful on that, but that is not confirmed yet. Melinda and team are working quite hard on how to get WIC, us to be able to take WIC on the mobile market. There are various different rules around WIC and stores and item availability that we have to comply with, and so we're working on how to do that in the mobile market context. We've not solved it entirely, but there is a lot of work going on.
Yeah, so we've been working on WIC for a while. It's been a challenge. Some of the regulations changed at the beginning of the year in terms of what is required to have on the mobile unit. Fingers crossed, we actually applied for WIC this week. I won't make any guarantees. I don't know how that will go, but the application is in. So we'll see.
Ken, did I get your question? Yeah. Sorry, so yes, cash transactions. We do not take cash in either the free delivery or any of the curbside e-commerce components right now. And we do not take that on the mobile market. We've worked with partners at a lot of stops around gift cards and other ways to trade cash for gift cards so that people could use those on the mobile market. But it's an imperfect answer right now, and we recognize that. I don't have a complete solution for that one yet.
Is that available at the Kingsley currently?
Yes, all 3 locations that are listed on the flyer, they will exchange for gift cards.
Okay, so they would just have to go inside first, or does the truck tell them that and informs them when they go in?
You go inside.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Paul.
Perfect. Thank you, Graham. I'm really delighted to be here this evening to share with you. Actually, the answer to the question that was asked earlier is one that I answer most frequently, probably, and talk about the store that we have in store for you, in a way. So I've been with Giant Eagle. I've been fortunate to have a career here that has now spanned over 33 years. I've worked my entire life in the supermarket business, starting packing bags when I was a 16-year-old kid, and have handled a lot of jobs through our outreach operations up through there. And a lot of that experience, it's what I fell in love with early on, is really serving the community and people. I lead a team of 17 folks on the Market District banner that help us assort our stores and really build the strategies around what we do in Market District. This team has a collective 400 years of service in this business and with Giant Eagle. So our entire team, I can say, is remarkably passionate about serving people first and foremost, and that is largely a factor in what drives almost every decision that we make, so that it is truly with the ultimate customer in mind. One of the other thing that I think is really interesting that in my job now I really get to work a lot with this, but early on when I ultimately became a store manager in a number of our Giant Eagle locations, we have a remarkably simple business in many ways, but infinitely complex in the sense that most customers will buy in the range of a few hundred unique items in a year's time. What is remarkably fascinating is that your 300 are vastly different from your 300. And that keeps getting more and more complex. And that leads to a supermarket that is assorted with tens of thousands of items. Each item with a remarkably complex supply chain and sourcing opportunity, and you can imagine how tricky that can get. So at the end of the day, when this all comes back together, it's it is an exercise in really truly understanding the community that that particular store is serving, and how do you really best take the insights, the anecdotal information that you get from talking with your customers, the data that you're able to collect through sort of measurement and process, and really land on the best possible result to serve the community. And that's really at the spirit with what we do both at Giant Eagle and Market District. So as we go on to the next, try to answer the question that was asked earlier, I answer this probably 5 times a day. What is the difference between Giant Eagle, or is there a difference between Giant Eagle and a Market District store? For those that are familiar, Market District was a new banner that was born inside of our organization in 2006. And at the time, there was 2 locations. We've now built that to 20 stores. And it was really centered around a storefront that was really dedicated to the discovery of on the pleasure of food. And it was called a destination for foodies, was really the original core of the concept. That certainly is still very much an element of how we think about Market District today, but we've really started to change the way we view the banner of Market District and think about it as the place where we have food for all, and it's the accessible place for that discovery of food, rather than fancy or high-end or premium. So that's often I think I'll call it a misnomer, right? We don't remove options from the shelves to offer something else that may not be exactly what you want. It's really meant to be the place where everybody can come find and discover their own unique food experience, and we can serve that to serve that core guest need. It goes back to that fundamental understanding the community and making sure you serve the primary customers that you have each and every day. The other thing that is really at the heart of what we really focus on in Market District is the differentiator for us is really our people and the experts that we have throughout the store, whether it's our expert meat cutters, expert fishmongers, people that really know and understand food, where it comes from, how to serve it, how to make it, how to prepare it, how to cook it, cater it, etc. And that's an important part of how we think about Market District, again, is how we can deliver a rewarding and differentiated food experience that's actually very simple, approachable, and really fits what everybody is really looking for. Catering, as an earlier question, is an aspect of that. How do we meet that occasion with our expertise? And through that, the real difference isn't that Giant Eagle doesn't also sell great food, but we have this commitment to be very nimble and reactive to what's going on in the world of food, which could be new trends, dietary needs, you name the aspect. And in Market District, we always want to be aware of what's going on there and be able to react to that so that we can meet the ever-changing needs of people as time goes on. And we have the ability to be very nimble and very quick to figure that out, because we are sort of fortunate that we don't have as many stores under the Market District banner as we do in Giant Eagle. So that's one thing that we also lean into and quite we find to be quite beneficial for our customers. And as we're really thinking about that, the other really critical piece for us is around our supporting our local food system makers, growers, bakers, etc., and our commitment to supporting that local community. We really think that we can help build a more localized, sustainable food system by supporting those things, which ultimately lead to an economic benefit for the overall community, including job growth. So at the end of the day, I think that the difference is between Giant Eagle and Market District is that we really lean into those very food focused items. But at the end of the day, we're selling the same thing. So we have fresh produce, we have fresh meat, we have groceries, we have all the pharmacy and the things that you've always come to expect from us. So hopefully that does a pretty good job of answering that basic question around what's the difference between Giant Eagle and Market District. In terms of the store that we're planning right now, this is in development stage for the exact design. And it does iterate and change really weekly as we learn more and we think more about this. The building itself is shaping up to be very, very well positioned, to be efficient in terms of the way the space is set up. And while smaller than the former Giant Eagle location, we've been able to account for every core commodity that I think you've come to expect from that store, and in some cases even enhance offerings. As an example, the produce department, the fresh produce department, which is a critical piece of healthy and nutritious food, will be slightly bigger than what the old Giant Eagle location had. So it does not mean that everything's going to be smaller and that there's going to be a reduction of access or availability of products and food items throughout there. You'll also see expanded offerings up and down some of the grocery aisles, particularly with local makers that we mentioned, and some of those related later products that really should look and feel like things from our region, from our communities. We are planning to have expanded prepared foods offerings so that we have that immediate consumption occasion met, whether it's food for eating now or takeaway, or food for meals at home or catering. As an example, our chefs, we have a chef, culinary experts that would prepare this fresh food daily, and a few other things that we'll have expanded offerings inside of meat and seafood from what you would have been used to before in terms of fresh cut in-store meat, fresh fish, accessibility both in terms of variety and in type, and the addition of Starbucks, which I think has been previously communicated as well. And in terms of the size, the other thing that I want to make sure everybody is aware of is that we really, the store is not of a size that we don't operate today. So we have many examples of Giant Eagle locations and even Market District locations that we're starting to learn how to operate in a much smaller footprint and still deliver a really remarkable shopping experience for pretty much every food need you can imagine. So those are some of the things that I think hopefully will give you a sense of what is coming, how we think about Market District and the importance that it plays in serving the community and our local food system, as well as the ever-changing world of food. And with that, I'd love to see if there are questions or feedback around the assortment of the store. There's a microphone coming now.
I want to thank you for the presentation that Giant Eagle has delivered to this point. My name is DeWitt Walton, and I'm the current Allegheny County Councilman for this district. I have a series of questions, and much of what you've shared at this point talks about a real transformation from what you had to what's going to be. Did I hear you use that term, transformation and change, in a significant way? That's a question.
I don't know if I said transformation, but it's certainly a different store and there will be change, yes.
Okay,
yes.
Semantics.
Yes.
So let me ask this. This is one of a series of meetings that I thought I heard, and maybe this is for the communications guy. With all of the changes that are going to occur, and the changes that are taking place in the neighborhood, gentrification, all of those kinds of ancillary issues, and changes in income that are really impacting this community now and much more in the future. I like to see a conversation about what role Giant Eagle is going to play in uh, addressing career opportunities for individuals. A discussion, not necessarily tonight, but somewhere built into your system, because with all of these changes, you indicated in your presentation that design work is ongoing and that thought process. So I know that this effort's been going on for a couple of years, and you've had conversations with a number of different community organizations. So I like to see a conversation about career opportunities in the construction and the ultimate occupations that are going to be left post construction, so that this community can take advantage of the change in earnings opportunity, which has a short-term and long-term impact on the quality of life and the ability to purchase goods and services from Giant Eagle and the Market District. So I like to have that as part of your ongoing dialogue.
Paul, absolutely, Paul, may I say a few words? Can I say a few words?
Yeah, please.
First of all, you made a lot of great points, and if I make a comment and I think I'm done and I forgot to address something, I'll ask that you'll just say, but you forgot to address the thing. Is that fair? So many things. You started with transformation, and it's one of these weird things where I started, and I sincerely mean I cannot walk in anybody's shoes, and I know that I have to learn from that. And then we're not asking for any credit here, but then we go, oh wait, like we say transformation, we say interim food access solutions, and when we are in our four walls and in Giant Eagle meetings, all this makes sense. So there's a bit of a disconnect, and I'm speaking for Paul, and I hope I can a little bit, and folks have heard me talk, Ken certainly heard me say, our excitement for the new store, and one of the things we haven't figured out how to translate, and in part because there's so much yet to be learned and figured out for the new store, is we say, yes, we understand that square footage at the end of the day is smaller, but this building was 60-something years old. But the back room, which is not at all relevant to anyone because you can't see it, was 3 times the size it's going to be in the new store because it's more efficient, because we have all these advancements. All of this supermarket jargon, which makes sense to the people standing on the stage. That's when we say transformation. That's a lot of what we're excited about. We say, this community deserves, and just wait until it sees. But that doesn't translate because you guys don't talk about square footage and don't talk about how we can take this produce department and make it this produce department and actually make it better. So I just wanted to call attention to that, and that we're not going to figure that out tonight. We're not going to figure out how we figure out our words versus other words. But I just wanted to call attention to that and understand that that is a space where, we are going to learn how to not convince, just as better convey the things that are important to us. You talked about employment, and I've got a few comments. I think one of the career opportunities, thank you, that specific word choice, but important, right? So there's a couple of things. There is the Giant Eagle answer, which we believe to the fiber of our being, which is there are countless, literally not countless, there are numerous job opportunities in our stores that we view as careers. And I could sit here and I can name any number of numerous dozens of people who have careers and families by working at Giant Eagle. But that's not what you asked about. But I just want you to know that, again, that's a place where we say, yes, these are careers. The produce department leader in this in the Shakespeare store of old and in the new market district, that is a career for that person. So I don't want to focus just on that because you mentioned construction and other areas. But I do want to say we don't view these. These are careers. Now, when we think about employment, and then I also bucket in product, bear with me for grouping those two things together, that's where I hope and I think we can carry forward good conversation. This is all good conversation, but actionable conversation. I'll give you a product example of a failure on my part. And Ken's so sick of me hearing, please talk about it, but I did it. If you saw in the Shakespeare Giant Eagle a suggestion box and you laughed and you said, really good try, Giant Eagle, that was literally my idea. And I am here today to admit that you're clapping because at least I own up to it. But, what I've said to Pastor and to Ken is, I want the feedback, but what I want is to figure out how we make it actionable. Because I read through every one of those slips. And I'll admit, lots of them were literal jokes. Literally. But I think I say all that to say, what we want is, I think, the same thing you want in terms of let's work together. There are some things that we won't be able to build an action plan for. I think product, I think discussions around employment, I think is another area. I can't speak to construction or not yet, but while you hear us say, we can't talk about the apartments and square footage for months and months and months, even if it's just for one person, is there an opportunity to learn about construction by talking about the store and things of that nature? So that's a lot of words. I don't know that I've done a great job of answering anything except to say, as we've said all along, I would love to continue the conversation. Is that fair?
I think that this is a good space that you're in, and I applaud Giant Eagle for being forward thinking, and also understanding development and how long it takes and how the evolution of that process works. That's why I'm being as asking for continued collaboration, and building this into your discussion and commitment process as you move forward. And I think this is a great meeting and a great conversation, and it should continue to progress in the constructive manner that it has to this point.
Well, thank you so much. And please, let's talk more, and we want to hear more. So, I'm going to say one thing, which is back to, we are not Echo. So I don't want to promise. I am happy to talk about how do you provide a lens. I think that's a really, not that other things haven't been constructive, but I think they're really constructive next step. But I wouldn't, real quick, Val, I wouldn't sell Giant Eagle short in terms of the departments and the resources we have in that, if not same, similar spaces. So yeah, I think us, as I too often do, I want to have the right folks in this room talk about what did we actually mean, and I don't mean that I didn't hear you, sir, but I want to make sure that I have a good grasp of what is the thing we actually want to do, and then carry that conversation forward.
That's one of the reasons why the Village Collaborative was created. That is one of the things that we do. We will be more than happy to meet with you and Echo to address Councilman Walton's questions about construction. How are you going to address minorities in construction? And as well as in the employment once the store is built. That will be a future meeting, and I would like to invite all of you back again when we plan that meeting.
Yes.
And Val, Dan, we want to reiterate that there were a number of people back here that were not happy enough with that answer, and so we would like to see a commitment on a future conversation about how Giant Eagle is actually going to engage the community, to show them the job opportunities, to talk to them about the job opportunities, to have maybe a day where we come and actually learn about the job opportunities that would be available at Giant Eagle well before they're even available, so that people, is that what we're talking about over here?
Yeah.
Okay, I hear it, okay, all right,
I will
okay.
talk to that. And thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
And when
I
you
got
see
you, I
me
got you.
stutter,
Yeah.
when you see me stutter, it's because I want to draw that line. I don't want to draw it and exclude the developer and Echo, but I want to make sure that we within our Giant Eagle walls are doing all that. And I don't want to mislead anyone who walks out of here and says the Echo meeting. I want to explore that, but I want to be honest with you folks. I think from a Giant Eagle perspective, another line Dan always says is, and please let me finish it and just know that I don't mean this and I'm stopping. You can walk in any Giant Eagle and there are probably at least 24 open positions, right? For either you see them as jobs or careers. So that I can assure you, how we will have employment, career opportunities. I'll make sure I use the words that resonate and are actionable. Absolutely, we want to have those conversations. It just, again, if you hear me stutter, I would hate to speak for someone that's not, Giant Eagle.
Okay. Val, I got a question over here.
Yeah. I just wanted to know, you said, I'm a Rodmanite, and I just wanted to know, you said the store will be open in 2 years?
So the timeline, generally speaking, and again, I'm speaking for a developer a little bit and I shouldn't be. The general timeline we've discussed publicly was 2 years from the store's closure, which puts us somewhere in summer 2024. But like that is what we have, I'll say, we, Giant Eagle, have understood from the developer. So it would be somewhere in the 2024 calendar year.
I have a question.
Hey, Jackie.
Jackie Dixon, corporate Giant Eagle retiree. I know this is about Mark Giant Eagle, but you also have a complex there. The last time I saw it, that has a bunch of other stores that have closed. Are you at liberty to talk about the other stores in tandem with the new building?
You said a complex where other stores have closed. I want to make sure I understand the question.
There was a dollar store there.
Were there? So I know there was a. So the answer to that is not helpful is I can speak to Giant Eagle.
Oh, just Giant Eagle.
So you're saying a store that was in the complex that was open over the summer?
Stores. It wasn't just a Giant Eagle.
Yeah.
Other stores.
Yeah.
Are you at liberty to talk about your collaboration with the stores that may be coming there?
So
Are there going to be other than the Giant Eagle, I think is what the question is.
So that
'Cause
question.
there were other stores
Yeah.
that were there before.
New stores there.
Yeah. So when I say I'm not, it's not that I'm not at liberty. That's a space where I can promise you, and I've had zero conversations with anybody about other retailers in that space outside of the market district that we play in. So the short answer is no, but not because I'm not sharing, just because I'm not privy to those conversations.
I can speak to that.
I don't think
Yes.
Paul is either, to be fair. Pastor asked a great question. I don't think Paul's privy to conversations about other retailers in that space than I
Right.
am.
I'm not either.
We don't know what retailers will be there, but there will be other retailers in that space. Which ones they will be, I don't think we can answer that at this time. But there will be other retails. The entire first floor will be retail space.
We're talking about new people that are going to be applying. What about the displaced workers that work there that closed? What about them? Are they going to be coming back to this market district first? Are they first in line?
So that's a great question. I'm going to ask Paul to give a little bit of insight in terms of total positions. I'm making an assumption as I ask you this question, Paul, and you're going to answer honestly. Would you envision that the new store has more positions than the old store?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. We've never had a market district that did not add positions as a result.
So you make a good question, and you guys know better than I the people who were in that store. I've talked to Val and some others who say, and I'm not being, so-and-so now works the Waterworks Market District, and she hopes to come back. So the hope is that with more positions, those folks who are in other stores, if they want to come back, we can create those opportunities while we still do the thing that you're hearing Paul say, which is, really bring in new team members as well. I think in an ideal state, both can happen.
The question that I asked about the difference between Market District and Giant Eagles, I personally think Market District was more expensive. When you go to Market District, for instance, in their lunch meat section, it's all boar's head, which starts at like $8.99 a pound. It's good to have a new store, but if I can't afford to shop there, what's the difference? So I found that the Giant Eagle was cheaper than the Market District. The Market District, to me, is set on par with Whole Foods. So it's nice to have a variety, but if you can't afford anything in the store, then, so is this going to be a Market District or a Giant Eagle?
Well, the store's banner is a Market District. Now, your question around the assortment in what I was attempting to do in our earlier thing is to say our intention is not to remove options in place of only more expensive options, and to use your deli example there. So we would actually really understand, go back to that community, and we already have good data on what people were buying and purchasing in history, right? So the idea would be that we would have options and a range, but without removing the core that we would need to sort for the community, and then have other things added on. So in the sense of a comparison to Whole Foods, we will continue to sell products that, to use Whole Foods as an example, they won't allow in the store because it may contain an ingredient that they don't allow for, or something like that, that actually eliminates that from a shopper's assortment choice. In our Shadyside Market District store, you'll see that we have the range, not only our premium Dietz and Watson brand lunch meats, but also our core Giant Eagle brand and other products inside of that deli. It's not just the premium today.
Are you making those assurances tonight that there are going to be those varieties of products, that there will be a low, a middle, and a high end, not just the high end?
We do that for every category we go through, so that there is a sort of exactly what you described there. It's a range, so that we can assort it so that it just doesn't end up being only one option and the other eliminated, for sure.
When you're on a fixed income, that's what, I had to start shopping at Shop and Save because they were a lot cheaper than the Market District.
One of the things that we were going to pose and post, and I believe Dana brought a clipboard, and one of the questions, this question came up in our dialogue, was the kinds of foods that were sold at Shakespeare Street, are they going to be sold at the new store? Because, of course, there's the Hispanic section, there's the Asian section, but we're predominantly an African American clientele. We would like to see a soul food section.
Yes.
So
yes.
At the end of the meeting, if you would contact Dana, she's going to be taking a survey as to what kinds of products you would like to see there. Do you want glory greens? Do you want frozen sweet potatoes? Different things that we tend to purchase so that we can ensure that this new store actually facilitates our customer base.
Mm-hmm. That's also things that we can look to talk to them about for the mobile market too. So we will have a notepad downstairs at the table where Angela and I will be sitting, and we would love your suggestions on the food that you just can't get anywhere else or you don't want to get anywhere else. And then Suggestions as well, like we said before, we talked about having some suggestions on times and places for mobile markets. We have a few. So we'd really appreciate you coming and giving us a little bit of feedback before it's over and sharing any thoughts, okay?
A list like that actually is remarkably valuable for us too. So the idea of that is wonderful. So we'd love to see that.
How you doing? Sorry. Alex, representing the Kingsley Association. I have a strategy question in regards to this entire conversation, because I do think it's impressive in general that you guys are addressing food security, WIC issues, and you're attacking it with the mobile market, and you're trying your best to make all the items fit into that store. But and I'm new to this area as well, and I'm used to areas that may have like a bunch of small markets and whatnot. Is there any different, and this may be a thing that Ken as well, like using a wider strategy and like maybe bringing in other corporate partners, or this is the service of food security issue in the first place? Because I do think it feels like a lot for Giant Eagle to be trying to solve all these answers, and it's like, hey, if you're not going to go to East Hills, I figure you guys still have the same supply trucks or access to it. Can you support a small business and help somebody else get those supplies to be able to hit those particular demographic needs? So I'm just wondering, in general, is there a larger strategy that you guys can advocate for?
I think that's a great question. When we started, I'm going to go back for just a second. When we started our journey and what could we do, and I talked about direct action as opposed to just being a donor and supporting other organizations, we're looking into food access. We actually looked at and have made a number of different attempts to partner with some small, whether it be a small supplier, someone who wanted to start their own store, people who were local makers and things like that, who were producing products here in this neighborhood or in other neighborhoods. Could we carry them in our stores? Because we like the idea of being able to both be selling in the community, but also be an outlet to create opportunities for new businesses to grow. And so we've not yet been successful in being able to bring something like that to life, but we're very open to and interested in the idea from a longer term strategy. There's a number of things that we do when we go to business every day that we think could be a benefit to others who wanted to get into a space. And we've had exploratory conversations with a lot of people about it. We just haven't been able to bring that one to life yet. But conceptually, we like the idea very much.
And I know Ken has we've had discussions about potential opportunities in that space too. Fair, Ken?
Yes, we have. We've had some conversations sort of behind the scenes, but there have been specific conversations between small stores, the community store called Produce Marketplace in Clairton that we were involved in helping get underway as part of a redevelopment effort in Clairton, and efforts a couple of years ago before the pandemic in the Hill District. We engaged other folks from Giant Eagle, in fairness to the folks who are here tonight. We did engage other folks from Giant Eagle in that conversation, but it did not come to fruition. We're very, very interested in continuing to pursue that kind of opportunity, especially in the post-pandemic wholesale supply chain space for smaller stores that are serving low-income neighborhoods that don't have supermarkets. It remains a huge concern for many of those store owners, and I think the disruptions on the wholesale side of the food marketplace, not only from the pandemic, but in years and years of transition in how food is wholesaled, have had a really dramatic effect on how those small stores operate, and we're very committed to revisiting that conversation, trying to bring some new ideas to fruition. And thank you for bringing it up.
I have a question. We're a 412 rescue. Have you, Giant Eagle, ever thought about participating in that? Because every Thursday at our location from Whole Foods, they give us produce, meals, and all those kind of things. Has Giant Eagle thought about participating?
With 412? Yeah, we're partners with 412. Let me call you. Okay. Okay. Yes, we can take a look at the stores that they pick up from the schedule, and we'll get you on the schedule. That's easy. That one's easy.
Hi, I just want to know when y'all prices are going to start coming down.
What was it?
The question was, I think I heard, when will the prices start coming down?
Just one more question. Thank you so much for even coming and doing this presentation. And we know, Giant Eagle, the litmus test is you go in the store, you can get whatever you want that you plan to go in and get. You guys are very good at marketing. My question is, it involves, I know at like the South Side Giant Eagle, they have what they call sometimes manager specials on meats, or even at Market District in the Waterworks. Is there a consistent program that you could share with us? We're all friends. Where, on certain days, there are phenomenal prices on meats, or there are specials that are consistent that, you can share with the community, that you can go to a Giant Eagle and get a good break on foods that are going to be beneficial to you?
Consistent for those types of programs we don't have today. Those are largely driven by current supply or inventory positions, and where we have the opportunity to either perhaps obtain something at a cost that might not be available to us every day, that we want to procure that and pass that on to guests, so that they're just not reliable. We don't know when the next one will be able to come. Or other times it could be as a result of an overbuy position, right, where we end up with more than we need to, and it's more of a liquidation. So those types of programs are very much centered around helping pass value to the consumers based on the situation, the ability to act, that are inconsistent in terms of timing or when they are, in that specific example.
Yeah, and Paul, is that also store specific, or is that, or a combination of sometimes store specific, sometimes?
It's a little bit of both. So very often that the ask won't be to, we have a couple hundred stores, right? We don't just broadly share that. There are some targeted stores that have the best opportunity for, again, getting customer specific, right? What type of product is it, and how will it best resonate with the community? So it's, instead of having one case, or we'll make up an example of one case go to 200 stores, it could be 10 or 15, 20 cases to a small group of stores that had high impact and high value.
Now, one program that Melinda and I just looked at each other and said neither of us can speak to it intelligently enough tonight, is a program called Flash Food. We've been partnering on for more than a year, and I think what we can commit to is getting ourselves more educated and educating the folks here afterward. Make sure that starts to be one that is scaled across many Giant Eagles. It speaks to it, but I want to be more educated so I can come back to you with more specificity on what that can do.
A question that we got a lot around the mobile market when we were doing feedback and whatnot, how do people find out when there are sales? Like there's the half-off vegetables that was on the mobile market for a while.
Yeah.
Are you using any means to communicate with the people that are using the mobile market, like through their Advantage card or sending texts or emails so that they know about the specials? Because for some people right now in this climate, to save half off on your vegetables, you might stop by the Kingsley for that extra trip to get half off on your vegetables, but not if people don't know about it. So how can we make sure that people are informed about the things that are actually already happening?
That's a great question. I think we should do a better job of that, to be perfectly honest. I would like to get the word out more because I think people would come more often. But that said, half-price produce is staying, so it wasn't for last week or next week or for October or November. It's going to stay, so you can count on that one for sure. In terms of what's on sale or what's on special on the mobile market, as a pretty general rule, it's following whatever the weekly sales are that are going on for Giant Eagle. Those items are going to be on sale on the mobile market as well. Half-price produce is specific to the mobile market, but the rest of it's going to pretty well follow whatever is on special for the week for mobile market. We do have website. We put stuff out on social media about where we're going to be and the schedule. It doesn't change, but nonetheless, we still put it out every week and those kind of things. We can look to add more information about specials and things like that that we'll have on the mobile market just so people can be aware. It's a good suggestion.
Okay, if there are no more questions, we will have Pastor wrap it up.
We're not saying that there's no more questions, but we're going to go downstairs, and you can talk to them individually. You can ask questions there. We have some food for you in the lower auditorium. If you cannot walk the steps, we have an elevator right here for you. But thank all of you for coming. Again, this is one meeting, but we're going to continue. Some of the things that were asked tonight served as a catalyst for some additional meetings that we want to have. We also have some information downstairs, some surveys that we want you to fill out if you would, so that we can continue to keep this before Giant Eagle. But thank you, Giant Eagle. Thank you, Just Harvest. Thank all of our community servants. Thank all of you for being here, and thank each of you for being here on tonight. Again, we have some food downstairs. You can come and you can ask questions that you wanted to ask, you didn't want to ask in front of the group. You're able to do that. We're going to be here probably about another 20 minutes or so right downstairs. So thank you very much.